Hello and a very good evening to you and welcome to News First Primetime News Live here on TV1. I'm Shahin Party. Let's start off the look at tonight's headlines.
Speaker and party leaders meet to discuss parliamentary proceedings for the 14th of November. IGP says that the duty of police is to follow the President's orders. TNA and Tamil Progressive Alliance express their stance to the President. Sajith Premadasa says serving the people is paramount and that all issues should be resolved within Parliament.
Well, for a comprehensive look at those stories, 2 new cabinet ministers and a state minister was sworn in this evening. Chamal Rajapaksa was sworn in as the Minister of Health, Nutrition and Indigenous Medicine. Pavitra Vanyarachi was sworn in as the State Minister of Petroleum Resources Development. And S.B. Dissanayake was sworn in as the Minister of Highways and Road Development. A meeting between the Speaker Karu Jayasuriya and several party representatives took place this evening at the Parliamentary complex.
The Speaker's media unit said this meeting was organised in line with the Gazette notification issued by the President ordering for Parliament to convene on the 14th of November. It further said the main focus of the meeting was to plan out how parliamentary proceedings would be carried out on that day. We made a request to the Speaker. According to his statement, Ranil Wickremesinghe has the majority. However, Mahinda Rajapaksa's faction says he has the majority. So, we told them, as the first task on the agenda on the 14th, we must decide who has a majority in Parliament. Subsequent to this, we can carry out other parliamentary activities. We will give this to them, but if we have a majority, we will handle it. That is all there is to it. We have 126. So we have more than enough. We have no need to buy anyone over unless they are willing to support us voluntarily. There is no agreement. They say they don't approve of our government. They insist that they have to prove their powers to us in Parliament and they have to test their powers and ours. But we do not approve of that. The issue here is there is no middle ground where both parties can agree on. We asked them to bring a no-confidence motion, and if they lose, we will be the government and they will be the opposition. The Speaker, along with the UNP, TNA and the JVP, are in a bubble today. Extremely partisan. He has taken in the whole stress of the country and says he wants to see who has a majority. But will that change the government? There have been enough and more minority governments.
Minority governments
No, we believe we have a majority. They say we are not a proper government. They are challenging all the rules. If they want to play this game that way, let's follow all the rules and go ahead. Meanwhile, Sergeant-at-Arms of the Parliament, Narendra Fernando, says seat allocations for the upcoming parliamentary session on the 14th of November will be made on the 12th. He added seat allocations will be made according to the Gazette issued by the President, appointing Mahinda Rajapaksa as the new Prime Minister, and further said he would seek the Speaker's advice to carry out this task.
Now, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya has announced that the opportunity must be given to show a majority in Parliament to form a stable government after suspending standing orders when Parliament reconvenes on the 14th of November. The Office of the Speaker made this announcement following an unofficial meeting with political party representatives held to decide on the parliamentary agenda for the 14th. The government's stance on the agenda is for the Parliamentary Secretary-General to read out the order of the President to reconvene Parliament and adjourn sittings for the day. However, all other political party representatives have opposed this and pointed out following the day's activities an opportunity needs to be given to call for a majority view on establishing a stable government. Meanwhile, Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara said that he can only act based on the President's orders.
The
President appointed a new Prime Minister as per the Extraordinary Gazette 2014/44 issued on the 26th of the 10th month 2018. The President has also appointed a new cabinet of ministers. Yesterday, parliamentarians Daya Gamage, Nalin Bandara and Palitha Tevara Peruma arrived at the police headquarters and delivered a letter from Honorable Ranjit Madhum Bandara informing me to reinstate the previous security detail of the former ministers. But security has been assigned based on the current provisions. Therefore, I cannot act on the details provided in those letters. Also, the President, in his capacity of Executive President and the Executive in charge of the Ministry of Defence and Law and Order, has issued special instructions to me and the police. The Honourable President is the person who functions as the Executive and the person in charge of the Ministry of Law and Order. As the Sri Lanka Police, we will act only based on the instructions of the President.
නිශ්චිත නියෝග සහ උපදෙස් මත පමණයි.
10වෙනි අනුග්‍රහ ව්‍යවස්ථාව යටතේ නීතිය සාමය ජනාධිපතිවරයා යටතේ තියන්න බෑ කියලා තමයි ඊයේ ඔවුන් මේ නිවේදනය නිකුත් කළේ. එතකොට
ඒක මට අදාළ නැහැ. මම කටයුතු කරන්නේ පොලිස්පති හැටියට අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමන් විධායක ජනාධිපති හැටියට වාගේම නීති සාමය පිළිබඳ අමාත්‍යාංශය ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොලිසිය විශේෂයෙන් ඒ කටයුතුත් භාරව කටයුතු කරනවා.
නමුත් ඔහු කියන්නේ ඔහු තමයි තාම නීති සාමය පිළිබඳ ඇමතිවරයා.
මට අදාළ නැහැ. ඒක මට අදාළ නැහැ.
ඒක අගමැතිවරයාගේ පොලිස් ආරක්ෂාව 10කට
ඒකත් අදාළ නැහැ.
ඒකද ඔබතුමාද කරේ නැත්නම් ඔබතුමා කියපු
ඒක මෙතෙන්ට අදාළ නැහැ. ඔබතුමාලා කරුණා කරලා පරීක්ෂා කරලා බලන්න නිලධාරීන් කොපමණ ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්නවද කියලා.
A media briefing to announce cabinet decisions was held at the Government Information Department last evening. The current situation in the country was discussed at this media briefing.
A correction should be made regarding the letter sent out by former Minister Ranjit Madhum Bandara, especially for the state sector employees. I express my regret that he had used the seal of the minister in the first place. The President has the power to take under his purview any ministry or institution. Come to Parliament and show your majority. That is all. Then we can take a decision from there on. There is no problem there. Clearly we have made that statement with conviction. That is just a number. None of those figures are valid. So we are speaking of a number beyond 118.
දින 12ක් වෙනවා මේ රටේ යම් අරාජික තත්ත්වයක් මේ ඔබතුමන්ලා මේ කරපු ක්‍රියාදාමයත් එක්ක ප්‍රධාන විෂයන් 13කට අද වෙනකොට අමාත්‍යවරුන් නැහැ.
There is no problem there because there is time to appoint ministers. There is time until the 14th for that. Chaos has been caused by Ranil Wickremesinghe and the situation surrounding temple trees.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා සඳහන් කළා පැවති රජයේ තීන්දුව తీරන ගත්තේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා ප්‍රමුඛ සමනලුන් රැණක් කියලා. ඒ ගැන මොකද හිතෙන්නේ?
I must clearly state that the statement made by the President at that rally was not aimed at a certain group based on their sexual orientation. The President meant that he had a group surrounding him and that these people had meddled with certain matters and messed up certain actions from his side.
කතානායකවරයා පසුගියදා නිවේදනයක් කරනවා පස්වෙනිදා නිල නිවේදනයක් නව පාර්ශවයට හිමි බහුතරය පෙන්වීමට හැකිවන තුරු පෙර පැවති තත්ත්වය පිළිගැනීමට මා බැඳී සිටිනවා කියලා අවධානය කරනවා.
This is wrong. We don't accept it. We clearly state that the Speaker has no right to do such a thing.
මනුෂ්‍යනායක ඇමතිවරයා මේ മന്ത്രിවරයා කියනවා මේ එතුමා අයින් වෙන්නේ මේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය සහ ව්‍යවස්ථානුකූලව මේ සිදුවෙන සිද්ධාමේ බැලුවාම රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා පාර්ශවය කියන කාරණා හරි වගේ කියන කතාවක්.
Did he not know about it on the day he was sworn in? There is more to it than this. I won't speak about it. I think the people of the country know exactly what happened.
චෝදනාවක් ඉදිරියට එල්ලුණා විශේෂයෙන් SB දිසානායක ඇමතිවරයාගේ හඬපට පෙන්නලා රංජිත් මද්දුම් බණ්ඩාර වගේ අය මේ ඔබතුමන්ලා මේ මුදලට මේ ඇමතිවරු පිළිබා ගන්නවා.
There is no mention of money in that recording. Anyone can level accusations, but they have to have proof. Ranke Bandara should go to the nearest police station and lodge a complaint.
නමුත් කැබිනට් අමාත්‍යවරයෙක් පොරොන්දු වෙන එතකොට ඒ කාලේ ලස්ස දීමක් නේද යම් ආකාරයකින්.
There is no problem like that. You can't call it a bribe.
Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajith Premadasa, says all issues must be resolved in Parliament. He expressed these remarks at a press briefing held at Temple Trees earlier today.
We came into power through a coalition and through that unity to carry out good governance. During the course of this coalition, my motive at all hours was to go on this journey together in harmony with both the President and the Prime Minister. I had no intention to profit from uneasy situations whenever they arose. During all my speeches and throughout all the development activities I carried out, I wanted to go forward together with the President and the Prime Minister. At every juncture, I wanted to reflect the unity within the government. I believe every government should act in a democratic manner with a proper vision and within a certain framework. It is equally important to be upright when carrying out the said activities. We have to encompass a set of morals and principles when running a country. Therefore, when my party already had a leader, my objective wasn't to chase behind various portfolios. My objective was to introduce and carry out the rapid development the people expected from us, while nurturing harmony and brotherhood between the two leaders. If not for this reason, I was never one to shy away from a challenge, and nor will I shy away from challenges in the future. But whatever challenge we accept, at every moment we must give prominence to our morals. We have to direct ourselves respectively. In this political area, all eyes are on us. Even children view how us grown-ups handle ourselves. Afraid to challenge him, you should be more thoughtful when asking that question. Ask yourself, should elected representatives challenge their own leaders or fight to resolve the issues of the people and to develop the country? I know I am on the correct path. I know exactly what to do with the powers that have been vested with me, and I know how to handle it responsibly. However, I do have one fear, that is, that if this country goes ahead like this, the people will eventually suffer more. Other than that, I do not have any other fears. It is wrong, it is unconstitutional and illegal. I took several steps with the knowledge of our leader Ranil Wickremesinghe and several others. I won't divulge how and when I carried them out.
Parliamentarians of the Tamil Progressive Alliance met with the President this morning.
The meeting took place at the President's official residence in Parliamentarian Mano Ganeshan, Palani Digambaran, V. Radhakrishnan, Mail Vahanam Tilakraj and Aravind Kumar attended this meeting. The parliamentarians said they attended the meeting upon a request made by the President. We came here based on an invitation extended by the President. If we can cross over for money, we would be betraying our people. The people in the estates do not like what was done. We informed the President that the 6 people in the alliance will stand democratically. A group of TNA parliamentarians led by opposition leader R. Sampandan met with the President. The meeting took place at the President's office. M.A. Sumantiran, Selvam Adikalanathan and Dharmalingam Siddharthan attended the meeting. We have not taken any decision. The President informed us of his stance and we informed him of ours. We have decided to vote in favour of a no-confidence motion if there is one. We informed the President about this.
Meanwhile, the leader of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Rauf Hakim, has made his political stance clear through a tweet.
He says, quote, I wish to deny reports claiming that my party and myself have extended support to the newly sworn-in Prime Minister. We continue to hold this appointment as inconsistent with parliamentary democracy and principles until his majority is proven in Parliament.
Well, the Government Information Department issuing a media release says there are false information being shared by organised groups claiming that Parliament will be dissolved. The Government Information Department says it completely rejects these fake and baseless statements. UPFA parliamentarian Lakshman Nyapa Abewardena convened a press conference at the Prime Minister's office today.
Within 1 or 2 weeks after the 14th, this issue will be resolved, and if it is needed, we can inquire from the general public if these actions were right through a referendum. The law cannot stop holding a referendum. The President and the Prime Minister had convened the Elections Commissioner and instructed him to take steps to hold the Provincial Council elections as soon as possible. If elections are being delayed under the new system just for this time, we can hold elections on the preferential voting system. The President and the Prime Minister are trying their best to hold the elections under any system during this short time span. We did not expect a speaker from Sirikota. No speaker spoke on the proroguement of Parliament because it is a power of the President. There was a certain sense of unease in the minds of the people created by the Speaker acting in a partisan manner and issuing certain unwanted letters. We have no problem regarding the seat of the Speaker, but he has an issue regarding the seat of the Prime Minister. Sambandhan is the opposition leader. We do not have an issue on that as well.
The
Sri Lanka Freedom Party held a media briefing in
On one hand, there is an assassination plot on the president's life, and on the other, they are trying to make us angry with India, a country we love. We had to take these decisions based on all of this. This was not done because of one or two factors. We will act on the program that will be presented on the 14th to present a vote of account, and we will act in the future. We very respectfully ask Ranil Wickremesinghe to protect the democracy of the party, appoint a leader based on those good principles, and then speak about democracy in the country.
ඉදිරි රටේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය ගැන කතා කරන්න
තරම් හදලා පෙන්නනවා ඔබතුමන්ලාට තියෙන CH දැන් මේ බුබුලේ ගැලවෙන්නේ ඕකෝකටයි පස්සේ
නේද දවස ගානේ නම්බර්ස් හදාද කියන්න පුළුවන් එක.
We can calculate the numbers on a daily basis and say that we have 105. Their 98 has reduced. JVP says they will not vote for Mahinda or Ranil. There are a few in the TNA that support the UNP. There are people who cannot win the vote of the Tamil people. They are waiting to get inside on the national list of the UNP. It is easy if the TNA is at the center. It will be easy for us to look for solutions at a national crisis.
විසඳුම් හොයන ජාතික ගැටලුවකදී සහයෝගය දෙන්න.
දැන් ඒ රටේ පැවතුණු
The journey of the country that was backwards has been changed with this change in appointment. There are various fiascos at temple trees. There are magic shows. They say people will appear from various places. They are saying that Veerakumara Dissanayake will be going. That will never happen. What can we do if we go to that side? Why should we go? What is there to be taken?
Addressing a media briefing held at Temple Trees today, Parliamentarian Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca expressed the following views.
Now there is talk that he is going to dissolve Parliament, but it has been clearly stated in the Constitution that the President cannot dissolve Parliament until 4 years have passed. There are a group of people who have been branded as underworld leaders. They are actually people who lived very innocent lives. They were directed to these wrongdoings due to the actions of politicians. There is an innocent person in Makandura named Madhush. He is a famous underworld leader these days. There is talk that Sirisena's people are in discussion with this underworld leader to pay him 3,000 million rupees, that is 1,500 million before the job is done and 1,500 million after. All this is to give a voice cut saying that Sarath Fonseca had asked for his help to assassinate President Maithripala Sirisena. They are trying to create such stories and pay underworld leaders 3 to 4,000 million rupees and throw us behind bars. We have governed the country for 3.5 years with butterflies. He is getting up on stage and saying that the people in the government were butterflies. I must remind him that it is better to be a butterfly than be a snake.
Let's now take a look at some of the opinions expressed on today's Davos program on our sister channel, Sirasa TV.
What we are witnessing are the distortions implemented by the 19th Amendment.
But many people criticized Mahinda Rajapaksa's government when they brought forward the 18th Amendment.
It doesn't matter which amendment it is, may it be 17, 18 or 19. The 1978 Constitution was brought forward to fulfill a single person's need. The 18th Amendment came forward to try and get Mahinda Rajapaksa to stay in power till death. The 19th Amendment was brought in to pave the way for Ranil Wickremesinghe to be president. We got this passed because we wanted it. However, this was passed with many distortions and errors. I will briefly explain a couple of such errors. Firstly, the fact is that a president cannot contest for more than 2 terms was included in this amendment. This was done to get rid of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Another was banning dual citizenship holders from contesting for presidential elections. This was done to get rid of Basil and Gotabaya Rajapaksa. They also included a clause saying people below the age of 35 cannot contest for presidential polls. This was done to restrict Namal Rajapaksa. Yet another fascinating fact included in this amendment was a certain clause giving power to the Speaker in the initial draft was changed to the Prime Minister's name when the final amendment came out. They also said Parliament could not be dissolved until 4.5 years have passed. Why did they make it 4.5 years? The next presidential election is set to take place on the 8th of December 2019. Since they wanted to get a day after the election, they made it February 2020. Therefore, when you formulate an amendment to pave the way for one person, such teething problems occur. But if you were the ones who encouraged the government to introduce this, why are you talking about it now? No, we constantly said that what we approved isn't what was in the final draft.
Tensions arose at the monthly general meeting of the Hambantota Urban Council today when councillors of the United National Party launched a protest inside the chambers.
UMP councillors attended the general meeting wearing black armbands in a show of protest against the appointment of the new Prime Minister and for Parliament not being convened. The UNP councillors raised placards bearing slogans inside the chambers, causing an uproar from councillors of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. They are talking about 6.2 million people, which also contains the vote of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Tamil National Alliance and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party votes of Maithripala Sirisena, SP Dissanayaka and Faiza Mustafa. There are only about 3 million votes of the UNP. They're talking nonsense. Due to the persisting tense situation inside the chambers, proceedings had to be concluded prematurely.
A clip of United National Party parliamentarian Eran Wickramaratne is circulating on social media at present. We report, you decide.
Who has gained in this crisis? It is only the politician who has gained in this crisis. It's unimaginable, what monies are being offered to actually buy people over. This is an indictment on our society and on the values that we hold. Politicians will never change the destiny of this country. Politicians will never change the destiny of this country. And as long as you sit there in your chair and you look at politicians and you think that they are going to change it, it will never change. We have to get together to actually change this. As long as we have the attitude of just meeting in our cocktail circles, in our groups, just talking, blaming other people and walking away, this will not change. This will not change.
Still in local news, Moody's Investors Service has placed Sri Lanka among the countries in the world with the largest fall in value of their currencies against the US dollar in 2018 and stressed that the implementation of reforms that address both fiscal and external imbalances will remain key to supporting sovereign credit profile of the country.
Moody's has a B1, a speculative grade rating on Sri Lanka with a negative outlook due to the country's high government debt, very low debt affordability and fragile external payment position. Sri Lanka was ranked 12th out of 15 sovereigns with the largest year-to-date currency depreciations. Year-to-date, the Sri Lankan rupee has depreciated by about 13.5% and at 174 rupees and 45 to 60 cents per dollar on Monday, compared with previous close of 174 rupees and 30 to 50 cents. Argentine peso is the worst hit currency to date, with its value falling by close to 50%. Meanwhile, South Asian Pakistan was the worst hit, with its rupee falling in value by 15% year to date. Indian rupee ranks next to the Sri Lankan rupee with about a 14% fall in its value against the dollar. Many developed countries in today's world would agree that investing in education and technology is imperative to sustainable economic growth and development. For example, it's hard to find another country in the world that places greater emphasis on education than South Korea. By some measures, South Korea is the most educated country in the world. Today, the country has achieved universal adult literacy, estimated to range between 98 and 100%. And the tertiary gross enrollment ratio stands at a lofty 93% as of 2015. The country grew tremendously over the past 50 years and now boasts of an impressive GDP of 1.531 trillion US dollars in 2017. The percentage of GDP spent on education annually is estimated at nearly 5%. Another stunning example of the importance of the education system and investing in the people is Singapore. It has a remarkably similar success story to South Korea, boasting an annual GDP of 323.9 billion US dollars. In 2015, the country was spending 9,209,148.04 US dollars on education. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, has a GDP of 87.17 billion US dollars in 2017 and spends only about 2.18% of GDP on education. regardless of the fact that Sri Lanka has the highest reported youth literacy rate in South Asia at 98.77% as compared to 89.66% in India and 83.2% in Bangladesh in 2012. Of about 60% of students passed the GCE advanced level examination, only about 17% were admitted into a university level institution, according to the University Grants Commission. This shortage of tertiary and higher education must be solved if we are to enjoy the same sustainable economic growth of South Korea and Singapore in the coming years.
Well, speaking on our Newsline program this morning, Dr. Lalita Siri Gunaruwan, senior lecturer at the University of Colombo, expressed the following views.
What do your students say about what's happening?
Well, let me say what I feel.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I think most of the students feel.
Right.
Relieved. Day by day, our economy was being foreignized, I would say.
Right.
Our national rights, our national ownership of the economy was being eroded.
Right.
In front of our eyes, we were seeing day by day that one after the other, the controlling gadgets were given away from our hands to the foreign powers. And if this continued for another 5 months time, we would have probably lost Mattala Airport. You would have probably lost Colombo East Terminal. You would have probably lost Trincomalee Harbour. And we would have probably lost KKS Harbour. And many other strategic assets we would have probably lost for the country. So I'm relieved that this happened. And our problem was not this. Our problem was, why didn't the president do this 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago? He should have done it 1.5 years ago.
And that is a wrap of tonight's edition of News First Primetime News. Thank you very much for watching. I am Shahan Jarampati. Good night and take care.